Trucks like this one are becoming very popular. It's a heavy-duty diesel truck, in this case a Ram Cummins, and it has a camper on the back, a four-wheel camper in this case. But building a truck like this, lifted up on big off-road tires and overland rig, how does that affect your highway fuel efficiency and your long range? Well, that's exactly what I'm gonna answer in this video. You will see a standard Ram Cummins truck on this highway loop, and you will see the result right there that I did actually a couple of years ago. And then I'll show you exactly what this built-up four-wheel camper Hawk Ram Cummins does on a highway test. And I'm also going to show you a couple of little tips about how to identify the best Ram diesel truck. So let's get going. I'm going to do this test in the most scientific way that I can. I'm gonna go about 50 miles or so on I-25 here north of Denver, and I'm going to let you know exactly the results I have at the pump, not at the trip meter. And I'm also gonna show you a video I did at the same fuel station right here, and I ran this very same loop, and actually that was several years ago, but it was basically the same engine. It was the 6.7 liter diesel Cummins with the 6-speed automatic transmission, 68 RFE, and I can show you that footage right now so you can see my results. Okay, so I'm getting on the highway now. This is our northbound leg of the test. We're on pretty much equivalent distance north and south. The whole trip is approximately 43.5 miles. Oh, good. All right, let's see how much fuel we used on this loop. Same thing, I'm gonna let it click on its own and then click one more time. Okay, let's see what the calculation tells us. We're gonna use the route distance, which is 43.6 miles. So 43.6 divide by 1.763, which was the gallons we used. Wow. So the result is 24.7. 24.7 based on the calculation. It's a little bit higher than what the trip computer told me, and that is really excellent. Alright guys, so I'm using our standard method, which is fill up, wait about 30 seconds and top off. But because this truck has a custom Norweld aluminum flatbed, the filler is a little bit different, so I'll show you that in a second.
How's it going?
Hello, how are you?
Good. That's a beast looking thing.
You like this beast?
Yeah. Probably top shop at $100.
Yes. So I'm gonna wait about 30 seconds and top off and then get on the road. All right, there it is. It's topped off. Okay, so I'm filled up. I put in about 27 gallons. I was about half tank. Yes, this is an optional Ram factory 50-gallon diesel tank. I also happen to be full on DEF. This truck has almost 9,000 miles. It's fully broken in, and I'm gonna reset my trip meter even though I'm going to be using my altimeter app to gauge exactly the miles and the speed. But there you have it. Alright guys, I just got on the highway. I'm using my altimeter app. Let me show you. Right there. It's basically a GPS app that shows me my elevation, which is about mile high, my speed, and my distance exact traveled map. So I'm gonna set my cruise control system to precisely 65 miles per hour. Why? Well, because that was the exact speed I used several years ago on a base stock Ram Cummins heavy duty truck. This is a series of videos that I am doing that's brought to you guys by our friends at 4-Wheel Campers. They actually built this demo truck specifically to showcase their flatbed Hawk camper. And like I said, this truck has a Norweld aluminum bed. It has a suspension lift. It's got Bilstein shocks. It's got 37s, pretty aggressive tires. It's got giant trail-ready steel bumpers. But the beautiful thing about the 4-wheel camper setup, not just because it's a huge one and it can actually accommodate a family of 4, but it's also all aluminum. Aluminum frame, aluminum construction, aluminum skin. It's very premium. It's also relatively lightweight because of that. I weighed it at just over 11,000 pounds, just curb weight. And it's quite a bit heavier than a standard 4-wheel drive truck that I showed you by itself. That truck weighs around 7,500 pounds. And of course it's going to affect fuel efficiency because also it's very, very tall. The aerodynamics is totally different, and although this is a pop-up camper, which is a little bit lower profile, it's still huge. That's why I'm doing this test. The previous result was amazing, I think. And 24.7 MPG in a heavy-duty diesel truck. That was a 2-wheel drive, as you saw. I put some extra, about 400 pounds in the bed of that truck to make sure it has about the same weight as a 4-wheel drive truck. Of course, we run all these tests in 2-wheel drive only because it's the most efficient way of doing it. And I'm gonna get on the road and log some miles. While I do that, how about we roll the footage where I show you precisely how to find, if you're shopping for a truck like this, precisely how to find the right one and know which transmission you have and exactly what the configuration you have. Ram offers a number of different engine and transmission options in their heavy-duty diesel trucks. So how do you tell which one you have? Well, a couple of easy ways. Let me show you some tricks. The first one is really obvious. You can come up to the hood and see it says 3,500 or 2,500. In this case, it's a 1-ton truck, 3,500. That's pretty obvious. What if this was missing? Well, you can also open the door and you can look at the manufacturer sticker right here. And if it says GVWR, gross vehicle weight rating, anything that's far over 10,000 pounds, in this case 12,300 pounds, that means it's a 1-ton truck. Because if it was a 2,500, it'll be either 10,000 pounds or maybe something that's very close to that. How do you know which engine you have? Because you have different options. For example, high output engine in a 1-ton truck, standard output engine. So here's another trick. You can open the hood and look underneath right here, and you are searching for a transmission dipstick. So you need to figure it out. You need to check where it's at. This truck's been used, so nothing on the driver's side. Now you look over here and you see this right here. This is the transmission dipstick. So let me pull it out a little bit. There you go. Trans, it says. Right there, it says transmission. If this was a high output engine, there'll be an Aisin transmission dipstick not on the passenger side but on the driver's side. And if you do see that Aisin transmission, then you know you have a high output engine and an extra heavy duty transmission. That transmission costs extra, about $1,600 depending on the year of your truck, but I think it's worth it. If you're building a rig that's going to be kind of heavy like this and you want to go around the world in it, I would recommend to get a high output engine and that Aisin transmission as well. And final trick, and that also matters for fuel economy, let me show you in the back. You're also probably wondering, okay, what axle ratio do you have or do I have? Well, this is a single rear wheel, 1-ton Ram truck. It can only have two different axle ratios, either a 373 or a 410. In this case, and you can decode this also, or look at your sticker, your window sticker, this is a 373. If this was a dually, it would be for sure a 410. But a 373, in this case, is just fine for this engine. It has so much torque, it has no problem turning these tires, and you're getting slightly better efficiency because of that. So that's another tip about how to find and locate your best Ram truck. Let me quickly show you the camper. This is one of their largest and most luxurious and also highly optioned campers. There's a big slide out bed right here in the front. You can turn into a king. You can sleep lengthwise or also just widthwise. You have your lithium ion batteries here. You have your cassette toilet here. You have an extra bed here. So when we stayed in this over the weekend at the lake, one person slept here and actually 3 of us slept up here. Me, my wife, and 2 kids. So that worked out really well. Here's my sink right here and a 2-burner stove. There's 2 bottles of propane on board. Everything else is electric. There's a red arc manager right here. This camper has, of course, this heavy duty top, expandable top, which is also used on like Zodiac boats. It's UV and saltwater resistant. This camper starts out at about 31,000, goes up to about almost 40, like this one. Very simple, but also nicely made, very sturdy, and also lightweight off-road camper. Okay, I just made my turnaround. I was going north, now I'm going south. Once again, it's a loop, and I'm gonna start and end at the same fuel pump. Currently, my trip meter is telling me about 16.2 in this big, heavy truck. So far, it's looking pretty good. All right, so the highway loop is complete. I'm pulling up back to the same fuel station right here to get some diesel and actually figure out the exact number. I have my data here. I went about 53.5 miles or so as I'm pulling up into this gas station. My average speed is not shown, but I went about 53.5 miles in 55 minutes. So I averaged approximately almost 60 miles per hour for this entire trip. So not a lot of traffic that was slowing me down, just a couple of turnarounds just to complete this loop. And right here, right now, I'm pulling up to the pump and I'm gonna tell you exactly what the calculation is. And the trip meter is still showing 16 or 16.1 MPG. Just remember that the trip meter is not precise because of the tire size. So let me fill up and show you the result. All right, I'm gonna top off. Wait 30 seconds and top off and figure it out. All right, I cramped off. Let me show you the gallons. Okay, so let me show you my calculation. So I went 53.5 miles and I put in 3.387 gallons equals 15.8. I am still very impressed. Some unladen trucks, like full-size half-ton trucks, you know, get 16 in certain conditions, but this is a fully equipped overland rig. That's a crazy cool result. I'm really pleased. And also, what does that mean if I have a 50-gallon tank? So let me double check. Okay, so if you take 15.8 and you multiply it by 50, theoretically you could go 789 miles on one fill-up, which is absurd. It's absurd. You could go from here to Albuquerque and maybe even Tucson on one fill-up. That's huge distance. And of course, you don't want to run it dry, so I would say 700-mile range on a truck like this is doable. So you can cross the Rocky Mountains, go somewhere else off-road, all in one tank, which is awesome, incredible. That's why diesels are so nice for this type of work. They're just steady highway working machines. And yeah, if I was building an overland rig, it would probably be a diesel truck, like a 3/4 ton and a 1 ton truck like this. And as always, go back to tfltruck.com for all the latest news, views, and real world overland rig reviews. Next time on For a Few Bucks Less.
So it looks like the former owner had some real problems with these screws, and they broke off here.
Tommy, truth or dare?
Oh, definitely dare.
Nathan, truth or dare?
Dare me, baby!
Andre, truth or dare?
I know my Mazda can do it.
Don't like taking things with momentum, but with open diffs, you kind of got to take some stuff with momentum.
Oh, sorry, my shifter came off in my hand.
Don't stop! It stopped.